thank you both very much today for coming in. And your connection with business, the post office, and the latest plans for keeping our post offices open, or what?
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, it's a long time since Gyrobank. I know we're too young to remember Gyrobank, Charlotte. But 20-some years ago, the post office used to have banking as an offer.
Right.
Since 2007 in the Northern Rock crisis, confidence in our banks is absolutely shocking and falling constantly. So this is really interesting today. There's 3 very basic accounts, one being a current account that's free, and as you may know, a lot of people don't actually have a banking facility anymore because of credit ratings. They can't even almost get going. Post office has got over 11,000 branches, so this is a really interesting insight as to what might happen with our banking now. People have got more faith in the post office, people have got more trust, and they can access it for free. My only question is, I have been into a post office and queued recently. I don't know if anyone's been through that, and
yes.
I'm not
For
quite sure
at some of them.
Unless
exactly
you can find one that's open,
thing.
of course. I have to say the post office was my introduction to banking and saving, and we used to get our pocket money, we used to convert it into 2-shilling saving stamps. Did you ever have a saving stamps book at the post office?
No, I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
But
And
thanks
then,
for
then the
taking
war
on
broke
that.
out and that ended it all. Oh, it did.
But I've got to say-
Anybody else used to get saving stamps at the post
Everyone else
office?
spent their pocket money like normal
On
people.
sweets.
How do you save your pocket money?
Saving it in a post office seems,
It's a good point.
How much
strange
pocket
thing
money
to
did you
do.
get?
Very little. Very
Bless
little.
you.
But that was set me off on a good way. Right,
That's
okay.
sensible.
So, and also people mix up the mail side and the post office, and they think it's all one, and they're
Absolutely,
two
it's
they're
not.
two
I
separate
think
things.
this is going to be interesting. I think it gives a lot of people hope that they can actually have a bank account, which, as you've said, obviously through your experience, Eamon, is a good way to start life.
Yeah.
So.
And I presume they still don't do saving stamps. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, let's get into politics. Coalition war. Tell us more, Sam.
Michael Gove's gone crazy over the weekend. First, he sort of caused further splits in his own party by going on about EU and how he wants to pull out of that, and now there should be a referendum. So that caused problems for his own leader. Simultaneously, he started causing splits within their coalition partners, the Lib Dems, by saying the only reason Nick Clegg opposes all our policies is because he's worried about Vince Cable trying to replace him as leader. Which is bad for everyone because it makes Nick Clegg look like he can't fight his own battles. He's got his mate in the Conservative Party coming out and shouting at his mate in the Lib Dem Party. So basically what you've got at the moment is both parties in the coalition fighting against each other and amongst themselves simultaneously, which I think can only be a good thing because the last thing we want is a cosy coalition where they're all just in cahoots with each other. The whole point is let's have a bit of debate. Plus, of course, war and fighting, it makes politics much more interesting to the rest of us, doesn't it?
Does it? Let us know this morning. At Sky Charlotte, at Eamon Holmes, at Delaney Mann, and Kate, you are?
I'm at Kate Hardcastle.
At Kate Hardcastle, does
you
what
go.
it says
Nice
in the
and
packet.
simple.
Let's hit the break, nice and simple. And when we come back, the stars who stole the show. On TV, we have got entrepreneur Kate Hardcastle. We've got Mr. Sam Delaney, the esteemed journalist broadcaster here, to go through the newspapers for you today. Now, Okada, they're the people that deliver your groceries.
That's right. They started actually in 2002. I think people often realise how long they've been going, and it's been quite an interesting business to watch because it's taken them a long time to get to profit as well. There was a lot of setup costs because you think they've got massive warehouse, huge delivery fleets, but they are meant to be a quality delivery option for internet, and they understood the opportunity.
And do they
for
only
that.
deliver, is it Waitrose they deliver for?
No,
or?
not only, but that's a huge part of their
Everyone
contract.
thought it was just Waitrose online name, didn't they?
Absolutely. But now Morrison's, who, as you know, are struggling, they've had challenges and they're not online.
I didn't know they were struggling.
They've had a few challenges with their sales, yes.
Really?
Well, yes, yes. Did you know that?
Well, I'm a fan.
Are you a huge fan
I'm
of
surprised
Morrison's?
that they're struggling because that is good quality and good value.
Really? I wonder why you say that. Anyway, interesting that Morrison's had a couple of months where they've been saying, compared to the supermarkets, they're not doing as well. This is obviously, it's thought down to the internet, and therefore they've gone straight to the market leaders, Ocado, to look at a whole offer of their internet, online and delivery service. So it's very interesting.
See, I think, as a bloke, I think delivery is excellent. But Mrs. Holmes doesn't do delivery. Every time I say, just order it on, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not. Do you know?
No.
But
Any
I
reason?
hate going to the supermarket and trudging up and down with the trolley. I'd much rather sit at home, just put it in the computer
you would
and then
do
it
it?
turns up on my doorstep.
It seems a good
Lovely.
idea to me. My
I
wife's a
have
bit
no other choice
prehistoric,
than
though.
to do online shopping.
Okay.
However, it's interesting because, as I say, with this Morrison's possible deal, the JLP and Waitrose partnership are not too happy about it.
Okay, right, let's talk about this whole Chris Huhne, Vicky Price thing. They've served a quarter of their sentence. They will be tagged. They'll probably be released about after 8 o'clock this morning. Sam?
He's done 9 weeks. They've both done 9 weeks. And I can't help but think, especially as I saw your report and them talking about how it's quite a relaxed open prison, that it's probably the most relaxing 9 weeks they've had in years. Because if you think of all the stress and pressure and chaos that has engulfed them for the couple of years in the build-up to their incarceration, just sitting in a prison with no one bothering you, well, at least not the press or lawyers or the police or anyone else, doing a bit of joinery. We were hearing that they have a nice joinery workshop, which must be very therapeutic for Mr. Huhne. Reading books, writing letters. I'm not joking. I think, it must be quite a good bit of respite after what he's been through. I'm not belittling how tough, ordinary prisons for kind of, violent criminals are, but I'm saying in this case, he's got out of it, and so has she. She's been working on her memoir, according to his piece in the Telegraph.
And how long does it take to write a book? About 8-9 weeks, something like that?
Well, she might, it depends how fast she writes, but apparently she's been married to her notebook throughout the whole thing.
I heard that.
The sad thing is that his girlfriend, Chris Huhne's girlfriend, is studying for an exam, apparently. He is obviously, relations between him and his son, as we all know, are frosty, to say the least. So no one, apparently, is going to be there to pick him up, which is a real shame.
I think his dad's
His
gonna
dad,
be
he's called
there.
his dad. He said, Dad, can you come and pick me up from prison this morning? And that's what's
Well,
going
I'm
to
glad
happen.
your cameras are there, because what I'm hoping to see when he comes out is a new kind of prison-fresh Chris Huhne with, big muscles and tattoos, because that's how people usually come out of prison, don't they?
And do you think his dad might be there going, in the car, get in the car now?
Exactly.
Yes.
Don't even look at me.
Don't do it again. Lisa says, they done the crime, make them do the time. None of this pussyfooting about because they're in the public eye. Imelda Finnerty says Chris Huhne will not even serve a week for each year of his barefaced denials. And there's a lot of controversy about tags. For instance, do they really need to be tagged? Is that a practical thing, or is that part of the humiliation?
I think, funnily enough, I saw someone the other day. I was sitting in a cafe having a cup of tea, and a bloke walked in, and he had a tag round his ankle. It was a sunny day, so he had shorts on. And, I found myself not feeling uncomfortable, but I was judgmental.
You were like, what's he got that on for?
So you got a tag there? What have you been up to? That, so it actually is humiliating for you, I'm sure, and maybe that's part of it, because no one thinks that Chris Huhne is going to do the jump on a plane and fly away for the sake of this kind of sentence.
Just don't wear shorts.
Just don't wear shorts, precisely.
Tell me about Google Glasses.
Well, did you know about Google
No.
Glasses? Right, basically they're a device, they look like reading glasses. You put them on and they are a Google invention that are bringing technology, so almost like your iPhone, but it's round your eyes instead.
Listen, I've done that. I did that years ago. It's
Did you?
absolute rubbish. I
Right.
got these. I saw this advert for video glasses that you could go on an airplane and you could put these glasses on and watch a movie in them. Rubbish.
Didn't work out for
Didn't
you.
work out
Imagine
at
that would
all.
give you a migraine.
It did.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to imagine wearing them, but the idea was that there's a live stream from them as well. And the press releases mention things like, if you're a skydiver, as we all are, it'd be very interesting to have a live stream of your skydiving with these Google Glasses. You can stream it straight back. But these glasses, there's only 2,000 pairs out there at the moment because they're on trial still, are causing concerns about people's privacy, because you can go walk into a cafe or a bar, a casino, and actually have the Google Glasses on. It's very hard to tell that someone's recording on live stream rather than just ordinary glasses.
Gotcha.
So that's the question at the moment. What I found interesting was how the 2,000 people applied to get them, which was on Twitter. You had to put, if I had glasses, ... what would you do, in less than 140 characters.
Okay, let's
Film
talk.
people.
Maybe if you had those glasses, you would
would you do?
watch lots of TV programs. The BAFTAs were last night, Sam.
You know what? I looked through this list of... I didn't watch the BAFTAs. I don't like watching award ceremonies. They're quite boring, aren't they? But I thought, I'll look through the list. I haven't seen any of these programmes.
I thought it was just me.
I think I actively avoid all British drama programmes. However, because I'm probably completely wrong, but I assume they're going to be rubbish.
Scott and Bailey's good.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I haven't even heard that. I haven't heard of any of them. However, I looked through the list of winners, and some of them, it undermines the credibility of what aspires to be, a world famous award ceremony up there with the Oscars, when you see things like Made in Chelsea winning awards. However, I was very pleased. Olivia Colman, I'm only familiar with from seeing her in comedies, and Sheridan Smith, who I saw in probably the funniest, best film I've seen in years the other day, which isn't out yet. It's coming out soon, called Powder Room, in which she was the lead. And I thought she was the most fantastic actress. And I think it's fantastic that these two women, who I haven't seen them in these dramas, but I've seen them in comedies before, and now they're being taken seriously and have won the top awards at the BAFTAs, which I think is very pleasing, because often, you know, funny women aren't taken as seriously, are they?
Okay.
So there you go.
Very good. I've got a funny woman here with the back pages. Jacqueline, good morning. That might be a sort of boring scientific sort of, you know, whatever it is. I wonder, has he actually done any work when he's up there?
Well, it's sort of interest, though, isn't it?
Sort of. Very good. Right, here's Kate, here's Sam. Here they are with the newspapers. And where are we starting, Sam?
Kerry Katona made this ad for a payday loan company.
She did.
And it got banned by the Standards Agency, didn't it? Because in it, she was inferring, according to them, that get one of these payday loans and you can live like a celebrity. Live the glitzy dream, just like me, with one of these high-interest loans, which is obviously not really the purpose of things like this. You shouldn't be frivolous with the money that you're borrowing on huge interest rates. So they banned it. But what the company have done, they're called Cash Lady, is that they've quickly made a tweaked version of the ad and put it back out, which other people have done before. It's a trick to get round the Advertising Standards Agency, because then they have to wait for the complaints to come in and reassess it, and in the meantime, you're still running a separate ad. So that's the way they get round it. It is a shame that these, you know, effectively loan sharks, used to be a dirty word, didn't it? The old loan shark business have been legitimised and are earning so much money now that they can afford to further strengthen their image by just constantly carpet bombing us with advertising. Mind you, as I said before, they're one of the only things keeping the kind of industry going, in terms of the only ads that run on most channels nowadays are for bookies or payday loan companies. So if it wasn't for them, I suppose it would be hindering another industry. There is a nice story here, though, about Sheffield Wednesday on the same page. Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday being offered 25% above their usual sponsorship rates to deal with a payday loan company. And they turned it down. They said, we felt the business model the company operates was not one with which we were comfortable to support.
There are other clubs who do it, aren't there?
Lots of clubs do it. Sheffield Wednesday, the chairman of which is Milan Mandaric, who used to, of course, be chairman of Portsmouth, has said, no, we won't deal with them, even though they're offering over the odds. So, you know, money talks, but sometimes people take a principled stand, which is fairly impressive. Yeah,
it's Wonga and Newcastle, I think, isn't it? I don't know if that's still in existence.
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
Here's a story in the Telegraph. What have Doctor Who fans got to do with the proms?
Well, it's a question I asked myself, and why was it on the front page of the paper? Tickets went on sale for the proms, very popular, ticket prices from £14, and the system repeatedly crashed, which means that for 4 hours people, you know how frustrating it is. You start to think you're getting somewhere, you keep getting error messages, you start to go through the process to buy something, and then it drops back out again, and you have to start all over again, and you've lost the opportunity to buy because there's a limited amount of tickets. And it's mainly blamed on the fact that the proms this time are going to have 2 days dedicated to a Doctor Who special for the 15th anniversary. And these Doctor Who fans have completely created chaos for the proms. I'm not sure if that's anything other than a really good way to tell me, who would have no idea, that there is a Doctor Who proms special this year.
So Doctor Who music?
Doctor Who music, yes.
So for 2 days they just go doodle-a-doom, 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 doodle-a-doom.
And the musicians are going to wear like little Dalek caps on their head, I think, and
I sort of don't associate Doctor Who with a lot of music.
They've got one song. We all know the song. How can they stretch that out?
That's not true, because there was definitely a Doctor Who song. I remember it from the 80s.
Doctor in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was a big hit in the 80s. They're going to do that too. Well, they've got 2 songs, and they're still stretching out for days.
Maybe there's
a lot of musicians do worse, Sam.
Yeah, they might have all the famous doctors, like Doctor Hook and things in there. They might be doing that.
Now, that I'd be interested in.
Day of Doctors.
Yeah. If it was just a Doctor-themed weekend, but no, this is just specifically Doctor Who. I don't know what they're complaining about. They're basically saying, we announced this Doctor Who weekend to create more interest in the proms, and now loads of people are buying tickets for it. It's really annoying.
Exactly
but
my point.
There's nothing more frustrating than a website that can't deal with... I remember vividly wasting days of my life trying to get those Paralympic tickets. It was just a nightmare, and it's so frustrating for people if you're there for ages and ages... keep trying to get tickets.
The thing I found concerning, which is happening more and more now, is that this £14 ticket is now £400 through ticket tout websites. And I am starting to get really fed up that it's so difficult on sporting, anything, to start
We will
going to
take a
events.
break there. Lavish weddings. Why have you it up.
Yeah, it
Mash
is.
it up,
It
yeah,
is actually quite odd, this
If
picture.
you're easily offended, turn away now. Can we not do... There we are. Right.
Okay.
What are we seeing there, Sam?
Well, look, let me give you the context for this, is that Michael Gove, the Education Secretary, went mental over the weekend. He was all over the place. He was saying, we've got to have a referendum on Europe. I'm furious about this, so he's causing ruptures in his own party. Simultaneously, he's had a dig at the Lib Dems, saying the only reason Nick Clegg is blocking any of my policies is that he's under pressure from within his own party because they're going to replace him as leader unless he shows that he's tough standing up to us. Very embarrassing for Nick Clegg. It reminds me when you see two teammates fighting against each other on a football field and it takes a member of the opposition to come and break them up.
Yes, yes.
Do you remember when Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer had a fight for Newcastle?
Indeed.
OK. Anyway, so it's very embarrassing for him. So the way that Michael Gove describes it, he has to show the Lib Dems a bit of leg, meaning he has to taunt them, showing that he will try his best.
At this stage, Sam, just hold that thought. At this stage, Charlotte would like to make an announcement.
Yeah,
a
I would
public
just
service
like to make an announcement that this isn't an actual photo.
Seriously?
This is a mock-up photo, just in case you were disturbed by the sight of this.
I knew you were going to say that, and I'm not so sure, because there is nothing in the mirror that says that this is a mock-up. This, for all we know, could be a real picture.
There's no disclaimer.
I don't know.
It could be real.
What does that say? Tights
okay,
out,
mock-up, yeah. OK. Either way, Nick Clegg, I would like to say, looks very attractive in that particular get-up, and not just because of those shapely legs. Look at his come-to-bed eyes also. And it was a nice touch also by the Daily Mirror's art desk to have, inexplicably, a pair of handcuffs dangling from his garter belt.
OK.
It's not just a bit of leg.
Talking about garter belts and handcuffs, weddings. A lot of people may not be handcuffed for life then.
Well, this is it. It's a survey out by a family law firm that suggests that in the couples they see who want a divorce where they've only been married 5 years or under, that's the key, 8 out of 10 of them are citing the financial strain of the cost of their lavish wedding as one of the reasons for their divorce. But looking into it, obviously finances are always a problem of new couples getting together. We're in a recession at the moment. It's very, very difficult financial tough times for everyone. So if you've just taken on 20 or 30 grand to pay for something, I would imagine that would be a rather large cost. But I think Charlotte's just showing you the very cute cartoon on the top.
So it says to have and to hold from this day forward until the wedding bill comes through.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think a lot of people now are influenced by those costs, and maybe the whole trend has changed. That, I mean, what's her name last week who got married? That actress, Keira Knightley.
Well, that's actually who they're suggesting as a role model. Apparently she kept it frugal.
Well, see, I find that
she's worn that
irritating
dress
that
before,
she's
hasn't
worth
she?
millions and gets into a Renault
Because she's
Clio.
doing it for love, isn't she? Rather than just, you know...
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I got her in every newspaper,
Worrying
didn't
about
it?
how
Getting
much
in a
she's
Renault
spending on it.
Clio.
If you want to stay together, stay frugal.
I served sausage and mash and cheap Prosecco at my wedding. 8 years later, we've never been happier.
There you go.
Did you
Why
serve
are-
it?
Because I was tight about
Did
it.
you serve it yourself?
What was in those sausages? Could those sausages have contained, or the trend is today, human flesh?
Well, they were very cheap, so who knows?
Right.
Certainly it wasn't 100% pork at that price, I can tell you that. According to The Sun, we crave our own flesh. Listen to this. A quarter of Brits want to taste human flesh, according to a poll. 14% would let a doctor take a sample from their body so they could try it themselves.
Eat their own.
Eat their own flesh. Well, in many ways, it would be more acceptable than eating someone else's. The moment you've stepped over the mark of eating someone else's flesh, then you are a cannibal. Whereas if you are fascinated in trying it, you'd be better off just getting a doctor to whip a bit off. I mean, I've bit my lip before and a bit's gone down.
Oh.
That's the closest I've got to it.
That's a horrible feeling, isn't it? It's
It's-
not
yeah,
a nice
it's
feeling.
not something I would look to repeat.
And there's that new series on Sky somewhere, Hannibal, that's coming on as well.
Yeah. Well, we're all grimacing, but according to these statistics, I would say at least... How
One
many
in
of us?
four.
Like 1.5 of us fancy the idea, but we're just keeping it to ourselves.
No.
OK, well, there's cannibalism raging at Manchester City.